Welcome to our first and 10 segment for the 2-minute warning. I'm Francesco Terranova alongside Alec Oppenheim. To start, we're going to talk about the ongoing Colin Kaepernick saga. Now, the biggest issue here is the fact that he still has not signed with the team yet, even though last year he had a decent season with 16 touchdowns, 4 interceptions, and a little over 2,000 yards thrown. Definitely not enough to get him kicked out of the league, but with everything that's gone on with him kneeling during the national anthem and all the controversies he's called, they definitely come into question the firestorm that he comes with him signing the papers. Alec, what are your thoughts on this?
Yeah, I agree. I don't really think he's worth all this trouble that he's bringing with him him not standing for the national anthem. I think it's really unnecessary what he's doing. Sure, it's for a good cause, but I think he should do it in some other way. I don't agree with really what he's doing right now, and I don't think he's talented. I don't know. I don't think it's about talent. I think it's about him taking a stand. I think he should just find another way to do it, and I don't really think he's worth all this trouble, so I don't really think he should sign anywhere.
Yeah, definitely not a top 5 or even arguably top 10.
Top 15, no.
15 quarterback in the league. Definitely not worth the trouble. Moving on, we are going to talk about a former, at times, top 5 and top 10 quarterback in the league, Tony Romo, who is now retired from football and is moving on into broadcasting, specifically taking Phil Simms' spot in the Jim Nantz-Phil Simms dynamic down at CBS. Right off the bat, he's starting off at one of the top announcing.
It is the top one.
Yeah, it's the top in sports. This is the pinnacle of announcing here. For 20 years, Jim Nantz and Phil Simms has done a great job at the helm there. Tony Romo now taking over. Alec, what are your thoughts on Tony Romo now being the co-announcer down at CBS?
I don't think it's a smart decision on CBS's part. I mean, what experience does this guy have? I mean, when would he have had the chance to really announce? He's been playing football his whole life. I don't really know I don't know. I don't really think he's going to do too well up there. I don't think it's a smart decision. Phil Simms is a very good color guy up there, and I don't think Tony Romo's going to be able to fill his shoes. I think he should maybe stick to football for a couple more years and see what happens.
Yeah, definitely. We're seeing athletes more and more going into announcing early on. Moving on to the baseball opener. This past weekend, baseball started back up again with a lot of teams jumping off to a quick start and other teams really not to the start that they expected, like the San Francisco Giants at 1-3, but the Cincinnati Reds tied for first with the Chicago Cubs at 2-1. Other teams really still, I think, finding their way so far this year, but it's really early on and can't really tell a whole lot.
We're 3 games into the season. I don't really think.
Four for some teams.
Okay, the Reds are 2-1. They're first in their division. That tells you all you need to know. Okay, the season doesn't matter yet.
Yeah,
okay,
actually.
Give it 25, 30 games, okay? Yeah. Then we'll see what's happening, all right?
And Arizona and Colorado are tied for first with the Dodgers in their division. So definitely, this is way too early to decide anything so far. Otherwise, you'd have the Reds as a World Series favorite. But
okay, dude, that's a little much. Okay,
baseball being back is a lot of fun. Moving on to UNC, winning it all in the NCAA Tournament. Really a great run by UNC. Not really a whole lot of question whether they would get to the Final Four besides that strong Kentucky team. But then they got through Oregon, and then they just had to beat Gonzaga, and they ultimately did it. A great run by that team. Alec, what are your thoughts on UNC?
UNC is an all-around very good team. I mean, they got good offense. They have good defense. I wanted UCLA to win, so I had them winning, so Kentucky sort of screwed me over a little bit.
In most of my brackets, I did have UNC winning, led by Justin Jackson, Joel Berry, all great players. Definitely, I thought it was a real no-brainer to at least get them to the Final Four.
I did feel bad for Gonzaga. You know, it's the first time they've ever been to the national championship game, and they got their dreams taken away by this team, who's been there a ton of times before.
Yeah, definitely. I think, 19 or 20 Final Four appearances and 6 national championships. Moving on, we're going to talk about Frank Mason, the John Wooden Player of the Year award, who averaged 20.9 points, sitting at 5'11 and 185 pounds. Definitely not your typical either big man, really small for the NCAA, and probably will be small for the NBA when he moves on to that. But
yeah,
overall,
if you're small for the NCAA, you're going to be small for the NBA. It's just bigger guys.
Yeah, true. Yeah. But definitely a great player. Alec, what are your thoughts on Frank Mason winning this award and what it means for him going on to the next level?
Oh, it means everything for him going on. I mean, he's gotten so much publicity from this award. I mean, he's the best player in college now. So, I mean, doesn't get better than that. Is he going to the draft this year? I'm not sure.
I don't think he's declared yet, but I think he's expected to.
Okay, he's going to be a top 10, 15 pick probably. I think he could have a good career if he can overcome the size problems.
Yeah, definitely. Well, we've seen guys like Steve Nash and Jason Kidd well overcome those. Moving on, we're going to talk about ESPN and their low ratings. I believe it's because they're coming to the 30-minute drill and the 2-minute warning. No,
Yeah, that's what it is.
No, it's the ESPN. The issue is a lot of people are saying is whether the liberal politics that they're talking about on screen and the football declining. Monday Night Football was their biggest viewership, and being that football's been declining the past few years, so has Monday Night Football. Actually, 12% it's gone down, hurting ESPN. And the biggest thing was Sage Steele losing her job. Alec, what are your thoughts on Steele being ousted at ESPN?
It's a shock to me. I mean, I don't know why ESPN has got to do something different to get more viewership. I don't really think Thursday Night Football has really worked out. It hasn't been a whole lot of good games going into that one. Color Rush and all that. I just think they should just completely ditch that and keep it with Monday night and Sunday football.
Yeah, there's been a whole lot of issues with non-Sunday football, include Monday, Thursday, and then towards the end of the year when Saturdays happen. Moving on, we're going to talk about Ronaldo and the other Ronaldo, the statue that really isn't much of a statue of a Ronaldo.
It's
Alec,
more like me than it looks like him.
Yeah, what are your thoughts on this statue? Definitely ugly.
You see that in your nightmares. I don't know what that is. What were they thinking?
I'm not sure. I looked up whether the artist took ownership of this, or like actually made a comment on it, considering all the publicity that's gotten and how actually horrible it is. But I haven't heard there hasn't been a whole lot said by the artist. But this is definitely it's front on an airport. This is not something that you want to see from one of the greatest soccer players ever. This is really, I think, an issue overall.
This is one of the only times I'm happy I'm not Ronaldo, actually.
Yeah, when I saw this being unveiled, all you could really do is laugh, and then all the memes that were being created is absolutely insane. Well, that's all from this 2-minute warning. I'm Francesco Terranova alongside Alec Oppenheim, and we'll see you next week with the next